Hello and welcome into another Keep Boone Healthy Facebook video chat here. I'm David Jackson with the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. Today we are joined by Ron Elmore of the SBTDC. Ron, no stranger to our programming here over these last few months as we continue to help the business community respond to all of the various challenges that are facing us now in this COVID-19 era. So Ron, thanks again for joining us here today.
Okay, David. Yeah, my pleasure. We look forward to continuing to serve in the community.
So Ron is part of a three-person panel that we have coming up at the Chamber on Friday. It's our Friday forum, and we're talking about opening safely and profitably. And Ron, I know that a lot of your work with the SBTDC has been focusing on those businesses that are either just opening or getting ready to open, and they're really having to go back through and scrub through the business plan again to see what is profitable for them, what principles, I guess you can say, of previous planning can be applied to now. Just how is that work coming about, and where are you seeing businesses have the biggest bump right now?
It really varies dramatically, David, by industry segment. So if we picked an industry segment, it's got different strategies than yet another industry segment. But if we were to summarize the total picture at the moment, not to be too dramatic, but it's in many cases, it's a redo. It's a rethinking about we were doing business this way, and based on our forecast, orders coming in, communication with my vendors, any supply chain issues, employees coming back or not coming back, how many to come back, cash management. These are things, as you could probably get in that list, they didn't normally do every day, right? So again, this is to that redo category. It's really pedal to the metal, forward thinking, innovation. All of these things become part of the ingredients of a new plan.
So Ron Elmore will be joined by Brady Combs of Combs and Carpenter and Lynn Mason of the Lost Province Brewing Company for that Friday forum discussion. And you can register online at boonechamber.com. We'll get more into the overall issues that are concerning a number of businesses in the community. Ron, one of the things that we wanted to talk to you about today was that we're about a week removed now from some pretty drastic PPP changes. A lot of businesses applied for and received those loans, and now some of the dynamics around how much time you've got to spend the money, how you can split that money up among your expenses have changed. Can you give us an overview of that new language, so to speak, and what this has changed for businesses that maybe do have PPP funds that now have some differences in how they can spend that money and when they need to spend that money by?
Sure. Yeah, it's a moving target, but yet, as you said, David, in the last several days, actually Wednesday evening, I think of this last week, and the signed into law by President Trump. It's called the Paycheck Protection Program Flexibility Act. And to your point of teeing this up, some of the points in that are that the PPP loan forgiveness period to include costs incurred over 24 weeks after the loan is issued or through December 31st, whichever comes first. So again, the businesses that receive the loan before that could keep the current 8-week period, but they now have much more time to look at the forgiveness period to include costs incurred through December 31st. Also extended to December 31st from June 30th, loans can be forgiven if businesses restore staffing or salary levels that were previously reduced. This provision would apply to workers and wage reductions made from February 15th through 30 days after the enactment of the CARES Act. To maintain forgiveness amounts for companies that document, this is key, and we'll talk about this more on Friday, I think. To maintain the forgiveness amounts for companies that document their inability to rehire workers employed as of February 15th. They've got to show their inability to find similar qualified workers by the end of the year. Companies, they need to show that they've tried to recall back call back workers. The point here we're making is we'll have some tools for them. We can talk about on Friday of even letters that may need to go to certain employees that hourly workers that may want to still take advantage of unemployment and not come back to work. There are some suggested ways of dealing with that so that you can document that you have tried to bring them back, so forth and so on. Again, the PPP loan applications now, deadline to apply for a PP loan is now December 31st from June 30th. There's monies available, in the $9 to $10 billion range. Now, the change also is to require at least 60% of the forgiven loan amounts to come from payroll. Used to be 75%. So again, this allows borrowers will be allowed to defer principal and interest payments on their loans until the SBA compensates the lender for the forgiven amounts instead of this 6-month deferral period. This what that really tells us, Dave, is that we really have to, each owner has to be in touch with his banker. This is being implemented by each bank, as you know, and how that bank does with these deferral payments. Compensate the lender when they get compensated by the SBA. Then the borrowers can begin to, borrowers that don't apply for forgiveness will be given at least 10 months after the program expires to start making payments. So again, this is managing to what we see as one of the critical problems is cash management, right? Cash flow. The last change that's coming out is establish a minimum loan maturity period of 5 years following an application for loan forgiveness instead of the 2-year deadline set by the SBA, reminding everyone this is a 1% interest. So that provision would apply to PP loans issued after the measure is enacted, though borrowers and lenders have to agree to extend these loans. So though this is coming down from the president and Congress, still the importance is communicating with your lender.
Well, and I think that's one of the elements of this that, for those that have great relationships with their bank and are able to have those conversations on a more fluid basis, it seems like those businesses have been helped more versus those that maybe don't have that relationship or just the bank maybe isn't necessarily as dialed into the individual needs of a specific kind of small business. It places a lot more value on local, certainly, and those local relationships that we talk about all the time. But one of the things that we've heard some, and I'm curious your response to this, businesses that see this new change in the forgiveness and the Flexibility Act, and they say, well, we didn't necessarily know it was coming, so we've been rushing to spend this money, or we've been rushing to try to get our staff hired back. Do you see this more as maybe relief on the back end of saying, okay, we're going to almost make sure to the absolute best we possibly can that the max money can be forgiven? That's really the goal of this more than any short-term immediate relief.
Yes, and I would also add that many of the clients, because when things are rocking and rolling for 7 to 10 years, we're not micromanaging to cash. And
Right.
Now it really you have to assign resources, whether it's your accountant, your financial person in-house, to manage the details of cash management and really look at all expenses that you've been either are now not necessary, et cetera, that allows this relief to really help you through this process and not if we don't manage to that and don't have our accounting together when we sit in front of the banker, it's not going to be a pleasant experience.
Well, we look forward to getting into this conversation more as part of our Friday forum coming up this week, again with Ron Elmore, Brady Combs from Combs, Tennant, Carpenter, and Boone and Lynn Mace, kind of the working example of all of these principles from Lost Province Brewing Company. They've gone through and done a lot of refining and reshaping of their business plan as they've responded to COVID-19 in the hospitality industry. Ron, I want to end by just giving you the opportunity. I know businesses are faced with a lot of different things right now in terms of getting open. There are certainly safety guidelines that we continue to push forward, and they continue to adapt to. And guidance coming from the state soon within the next few weeks about what phase 3 may look like. So there's a lot of information coming in. How can the SBTDC continue to be a helpful resource for businesses that are looking for information? Maybe they're looking for just that person to help walk them through something that's been very different for them from an operational standpoint. What all can you assist folks with right now?
Thank you, David. As you know, we have an office right there in the High Country, in Boone, and in Hickory. And we are staffed with good 6 counselors, including myself, that are ready to come into their offices, work with their staff on these planning processes. We also just announced and have available, we'll mention it on Friday, a checklist for managing to financial difficulty, opening profitably. So again, the role we play often, David, is that independent third party that's so valuable in looking down on the business with the business owners to say, okay, how can we recast this? Let's check this. Let's look at this. Let's look at these. These are best practices in these areas. And our clients tend to perform better, right, frankly, than if those who do not. And so we've got a great track record of helping. Our services are at no charge, paid for by your tax dollars, and all confidential. All they have to do is they can call 828-345-1110 and just ask for help, and we'll get in touch with them within 24 hours.
Well, Ron, we certainly appreciate all the work that you and your staff are doing right now. It's an important time, just because we're maybe past the initial stage of everybody kind of falling into this pattern of quick changes and rapid reaction. Now we're starting to try to get on that path to the steady recovery, and your services will continue to be valuable for our community there. So thanks for spending some time with us. We look forward to talking to you more on Friday, and wish you all the best as you continue to work with small businesses in our area to help them get back on their feet.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to partner with you.